Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Nurture Cure Retreat. My name is Samantha, and thank you so much for coming and being a part of your this wellness journey that you may be continuing or that you are just embarking on. I want to start off just introducing myself. Like I said, I'm Samantha, and I am a family nurse practitioner. I practice pretty much in a holistic way. I have a holistic approach to health and healing. I've been a nurse practitioner for about 10 years now. And my journey has evolved, just like you, just like me as an individual. My journey and my profession has evolved. And I just really got discontented with the kind of standard approach to medicine and healing. I worked in primary care for about 5 years before I moved into the home health space. And I felt like it was a pill mill. I just came in, people would come in for a problem, and I would refill a prescription. And there was no follow through as far as, a holistic mental, spiritual lifestyle approach to what led to the disease in the first place. Like, what got you here, and what can you take from our interaction that will help you to think about your life differently. That piece was missing. It was definitely you know uh problem focus, magic bullet type model. And you know what? It's good for acute situations. The Western model of health is really good for, you get something happens to you super quick, trauma, you need surgery. I mean, it's excellent. And I'm so grateful to be living in a time with such technology and advances in health. And also, uh, we don't really do well with chronic illnesses, autoimmune illnesses. Um, those types of diseases require more of a holistic approach. Um, and oftentimes you need to incorporate mental thought patterns, mindset, spiritual aspects, energetic things that are going on within the body, in order to really connect people to their healing and the wholeness that's there waiting for them. So that's me. I want to start off sharing a recent experience that I had with reconnecting myself to a homeostatic position of a normalized blood pressure. So after having my fourth daughter, I experienced high blood pressure chronically. I had some elevated with the other kiddos. My second one and my third one, I had some elevated blood pressures while I was pregnant, which I now understand some of the, thought patterns and lifestyle factors that contributed to that. But, you live and you learn. I wasn't really into this approach to healing then. And that's okay. So recently, I was on my way to the doctor's office for a checkup for hypertension, high blood pressure check. And every time I go in there, it's like ridiculously high. Like I'm talking about 170s over 100, 160s over 100. And, if you guys don't know, normal is anything less than 120 systolic. So what your heart is doing when it's contracting, and then less than 80 diastolic, which is what your heart is doing in between the beats. So the pressure that's in your heart in between the beats. So it should be less than 120 or 80. So needless to say, that's pretty darn high. I am on blood pressure medication, so being treated for chronic blood pressure. But when I'm home, ironically, the readings are normal. I take my blood pressure medication every day, try to do it around the same time every day. And I check my blood pressure almost every day. Normal readings, 120s over 80s or less. I'll occasionally get a 130, but nothing compared to what I get at the doctor's office. And so I'm on my way driving. And so by now, I have a fear of going into the doctor's office and it being high. That patterning is now, in my mindset, and it's now manifesting in my body. And I felt the energy that it felt like a ball, a knot, in my chest as I'm driving. And I'm like, wow, look at that. So I'm driving and I sense that energy of fear in my heart that my blood pressure is going to be through the roof. The doctor is going to be upset. He's going to want to put me on ABCDEFG medications. He might want to send me to the doctor. The hospital. I had all the scenario. Then, okay, then what's going to happen if I go to the hospital? Who's going to pick up the kids from school? Blah, blah, blah. So the scenario, the fear scenario was already running itself on repeat as I'm driving. None of this has happened yet. I am literally driving in my car, yet my mind and my emotions and my thoughts and my body is responding to a future that hasn't even happened. And I just take notice. I'm driving because oftentimes when we just bring attention to it, to that energy, to the issues that are going on energetically in our body, the attention alone is enough to diffuse the situation if we just stick with it and not get distracted by the thoughts that are trying to take us all over, trying to figure out the solution to the problem. So letting your thoughts just be. And every time I noticed that my mind was wandering down those various scenarios that haven't even happened yet, I gently would draw my attention back to my body and this energetic ball in my chest as I'm driving to the doctor's office. So I'm driving, and I'm just with the feeling. And like I said, my mind would occasionally go off, try to fix it, try to figure it out, try to, why is this happening? And I would just gently bring it back to this ball of energy in my chest. So I'm just feeling it, driving. And then as I continue to bring my attention to this energy of fear, because that's what it is, a fear-based energy, and sit with the fact that I'm afraid, it started to migrate and diffuse. So imagine if it's in the beginning, it's like a tight ball of energy, but the more attention that I placed on it, imagine it stretching and diluting a bit, or what's another word? Kind of like diffusing a bit. And so instead of like this, it's kind of going like this, and I feel it. And it's migrating, like a piece of it is kind of migrating up here. And so now I feel kind of the bulk of the energy in my throat. And so I sit with that, like, oh, I feel like, powerless against powerless going into this doctor's office. Like, that's the feelings that came around with this sensation. I feel like I can't do anything about it. Blood pressure is just going to be what it is. I'm just going to be doomed to and I can't say nothing about it, can't do anything about it. Just a feeling of powerlessness, in here. And I just sat with those feelings, like, you feel powerless. Like, it's a feeling. And yeah, your thoughts try to make meaning of those feelings. You need to do this, you need to do that, to try to correct some error. But my job was to just sit with the feelings and sit with that energy. And so I did that. I'm still driving. I'm turning off the exit. I'm driving. And so all of a sudden, as I'm sitting with this powerlessness, energy, sitting with it, accepting it as is. This starts to diffuse and I feel a warm sensation like coming out of my mouth, like just, and so what was in my heart then was in my throat and then coming out just felt like a seamless flow. Like I didn't feel any one area more than the other like I did before. So I'm just noticing, taking note of these feelings. Yeah, my mind is like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what's happening? Yeah, my mind's doing all that. And I'm just like, attention back here and just sensing this new flow of energy, flow of sensation. There's like I said, no particular space, particular area that I feel more than the other. And so it was just a feeling of relief, actually. So didn't know what any of this meant for what this blood pressure was about to be up in the doctor's office. I was just like, hey, I sat with that. I sat with the fear. I sat with the helplessness. I let go of these things. I let it go on. I let it just go on and be and do what it do. So I get up to the doctor's office, like 100% knowing that my blood pressure is going to be through the roof because that's what it's always, I know nothing different. That's what it always does. And so it wasn't until I got weighed, which is a whole nother subject of charge. I didn't have the same feelings that I usually had when I got weighed. And I was like, that's different. It was more of like just peace of what is, acceptance of what is. That's different. So then I walked to the room and during, I'm walking to the room, feeling a little bit like it's in slow motion. I kind of sense my mind wanting to do its own thing. And, when I walked into that room and sat down, I felt like, wow, I had an inkling like, it's possible that my blood pressure is not going to be high today. Like that possibility. And at that point, I feel like the energy that I had around this encounter, that programmed mindset and energetic response around this encounter, being in a doctor's office, I feel like at that point, I almost had freedom to kind of hope for something different, had courage to say, it's possible that a different outcome will manifest today, and before I wasn't ever in that mind space to even ever think that something different can come from it. And so, he took my blood pressure and, for the first time in years, I will tell you years, my blood pressure was 130/80 at the doctor's office. Shock could not express how I felt in that moment. He's holding my arm. I hear him say the numbers. I'm just like, just in total shock, but gratitude, and felt like, I'm onto something here about, this technique, being able to help you manifest healing in your life. So, of course, my doctor got all happy-go-lucky and was like, ooh, let's see if we can get it lower. And I'm just like instantly like, why are you trying to do the most? Like 130/80 is the win. Let's bask in that. And of course, when he tried to do it again, my blood pressure, shot up because I had so much fear and angst about, him wanting to prove something. I don't know why he wanted to do it again, but I got in my feelings about that. And of course, the blood pressure reflected that. The top number, he didn't even finish. He stopped midway in it, like, okay, we're just going to take that first number. And I'm just like, yes, that's appropriate. So I just wanted to share that with you guys before we got started, because this thing right here, I'm living. This is not some, abstract theories, things that just sound good, sound kind of spiritual, sound kind of like, kind of out there and, magical. No, this is actually truth. This is, and I'm a testimony to the fact that this, in fact, can be an approach that you can use to restore your health and wholeness. So, health comes from the root word whole. And I think the problem with healthcare and healthcare delivery in our culture is that it is fragmented. It's very much, let's take this piece of the puzzle and put A plus B together and let's see if we get a different outcome of C. When, we are not fragmented beings. And if we are operating out of a fragmented state, then we feel fragmented. We do not feel well. We do not feel healthy, and we don't feel whole. So an approach to helping people feel better in their bodies, feel whole mentally, spiritually, feel balanced is in a holistic approach to dealing with the dis-ease that shows up, imbalances that shows up in our lives. So I am a firm proponent of having this holistic approach. And I feel like our society is moving more toward that. But I'm super passionate about it, super grateful for anyone, who will listen to this later. Like, I just want to give you hope that there is a way to return wellness to you. And it's already inside of you, which is the awesome part. You just have to access it, and I'd love to be with you on that journey as you access that beautiful wholeness that you already are. So what we're going to talk about today is why is it that we can, why is it that, connecting with energy, mind body approaches, meditation, why is it that can have an effect in our physical body? If you have ever heard or been familiar with the idea of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that field of science deals with this very issue, and science is catching up with what ancient traditions have known and practiced and experienced since the beginning of human existence and human experiences, which is that mind-body connection, that spirit, mind, body, emotion connection. And so, like I said, science is catching up to it. We are trying to, wrap our brains around a framework to help us understand it. But what I like to focus on is the experience of it. Your mind is going to want to analyze. That's what minds do. They want to figure out problems. But if you can allow your mind to do what it does and be what it does and do what it do without having to try to rein it in or try to manipulate it in some way, and just bring your attention to your own experiences right in the midst of your healing processes, that's where it begins, and that's where the evolution takes place. So Einstein said that everything is energy. Everything is energy, even the things that we see in this visual world. It is energy, it's waves, it's just showing up as a physical matter because of our perceptions, because that our eyes are seeing it, our nose are smelling it, we are tasting it, because of our five senses. Our five senses has the unique ability to take those wavelengths and translate it in our brain into our world and what we see. So with that being said, what you see the manifestation of illness, disease that manifests in your body is a result of disordered wavelengths, and energy that's not in congruence or synergy. So we can address that. Talk about root cause. We can address those, subtle energies that led to this manifestation of illness or what have you. And that's where meditation comes in, because what you're doing is syncing up with, the source. You're syncing up to the creative, holistic wavelengths to create a different outcome in your manifested world, a different outcome in your manifested body. So it's vital to incorporate practices that help you to sync up and connect with those holistic healing frequencies. And it's easy to do. It's easy to do. And it just takes a little courage. That's all that's required. So what we're going to do now is a short meditation. And I want you to, before you meditate, I want you to write down a couple of areas of your health that you would like to address. Things that may be new or longstanding that you have been dealing with, maybe you feel a little struggling with, maybe you have an attitude of, I'm just done and I'm over it. Whatever feelings that you have about it, that is okay. We are sitting with those feelings. And I want you to write down on your notepad specifically, whether it be hypertension, high blood pressure, weight gain, weight loss, sleep problems and sleep disturbances, joint problems and joint health, thyroid issues, whatever, high cholesterol, whatever it is that's going on in your body right now. I want you to just list them on here. Once you have them listed, I want you to look at these things not as individual problems or individual diseases. I want you to look at this list of things as a set of messages that are related to each other, that your body is sending you. That's sending you messages, telling you an exact roadmap of how to return back to balance. I think oftentimes we need to examine our relationship with illness and our relationships with disease. They have a protective mechanism to them. They have, they are a manifestation of something that try to, protect us, some sort of self-preservation mechanism, whether it be thoughts, suppressed emotions, feelings, what have you. They are messages that we can learn from and they can guide us back to wholeness. So I want you to look at those things. And oftentimes when we have longstanding things that we have an antagonistic relationship with, we have all these like low negative energy, emotional attachments to them. We have desire to get rid of them, which is kind of on the lower level of consciousness. We have just a lot of negative vibes surrounding them. And so what I want us to do with this meditation and with this foundational practice, in order for us to kind of get more specific on our next session, I want you to bring a level of courage to each one of those illnesses and diseases. Imagine below here, you have all the negative vibes associated with these illnesses, like something's wrong with you, you're not perfect, you're not whole, shame, guilt, wishing that you were something else, somewhere else, someone else. That's all associated to these illnesses up until now. Now I want you to tell yourself, these are messages. and begin to alter your relationship with these messages. And with courage, I want you to see these messages as something, as a tool that can be used to guide you. Okay. So that's all I'm asking, is to bring courage to this space. And the thoughts can still be there. You don't have to do anything with them. The feelings, they can still be there too. You just don't have to attach anything to them. But bring an intention of courage, saying, you know what? Yeah, I used to have these negative vibes associated with it, but I'm going to bring courage here, which means I'm going to bring a sense of possibility that these are messages, a sense of hope that, I might have a different relationship with these things and my whole world can change. I could learn something and my whole world can be turned upside down and right side up, and everything could change. And what I currently thought about what I had to do to fix this stuff and all this stuff could be totally different. Courage, courage, courage. So during this meditation, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes, and I want you, our intention is for courage. We're not thinking about any specific illnesses, focusing on that. Of course, your mind is going to do what your mind does. So a lot of things are probably going to come across your mind as we meditating, but our intention is courage, possibility, hope, that, a willingness that things can be different. Your relationship to disease, your illness, whatever physical manifestation, your relationship with it can change. And that can transform you. So for those who like to use hand mudras, which are like hand prayers while you meditate, the one for courage looks like this. And it invites an energy into this space of vitality and courage, and a foundation for that. So if during meditation you want to use, hand mudras like this, feel free. It's a nice guidepost. So while you're meditating, once your mind gets distracted, you can go back to your attention can go back to your hands and how those hands feel, the energy that's going through you, through your fingertips. That can be your return point. The hand mudra, I love them. So this is for, kind of feely symbolic people. Hand mudras might be good to use while meditating. For visual people, maybe you want to use the actual word courage. So with your eyes closed, if you get thoughts that distract you or some feelings come up, I want you to imagine just courage. A lot of people like, maybe in white bold lettering or green lettering, whatever. I want you to imagine the word courage and take your attention around each letter. Notice the spaces between each letters. That's your guidepost. So whenever you get distracted during this meditation, your mind goes, which it ultimately will do. Whenever you catch yourself, just gently bring your attention back to the word courage. Okay. All right. We're going to start here. I'm going to put our timer on for 5 minutes. I want you guys to get into a comfortable position. Feet flat on the floor, or if you want to sit cross-legged, that's fine. Whatever feels comfortable, whatever seated position feels comfortable for you. And I want you to just breathe comfortably and bring your attention to your breathing. And bring gratitude with each breath. Just thankful for the breath. Thankful for this opportunity to pour love onto yourself by bringing attention and awareness to what's going on with your body, what's going on with your mind, your emotions, and your soul. With each even breath, I want you to relax deeper into with each exhale. Squeeze your feet, squeeze your feet, and then let it go. Tense up your legs, tense up your legs, and then let it go and breathe. Relaxing into those relaxed muscles. And now I want you to squeeze your fists, and then relax and let it go. I want you to clench at the jaws, and then let it go. I want you to squeeze your eyes, and then let it go. And now just bring your attention to your breath, noticing the in and the out, however long it is. How you're feeling very relaxed. Your breath is nourishing. And you're welcoming ease into the space. Now, if you're choosing to use your hand mudras, I want you to get in position. And if you're choosing to use courage as your pointer, I want you to imagine that word prominently in this space. And allow the empowerment that comes with courage to fill you up. To ground you and root you. You're not alone. You can face these messages with courage. Allow them to teach you. Allow them to speak to you. Okay, you guys, that was our 5 minutes. It was a little abrupt, but I thank you so much for joining me today. I If you feel like you want a longer meditation, go for it. I recommend that at least in the first few days to a week of embarking on your healing journey, that you meditate on courage. Because possibly ahead of you is some lifestyle changes that will be major shifts in how you used to operate. So kind of building up that energetic force of courage will help on this journey to becoming better aligned and better balanced. I think oftentimes, especially in the beginning of the year, people jump on bandwagons and not really prepare themselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually to first hear what the messages are telling them about those, quote unquote, bad behaviors or those quote unquote illnesses or what have you. They don't allow the space to hear. And then also, building up the courage to act, change, be different, whatever, manifest something different than what you previously were operating out of. So I encourage you to do this meditation for the next couple of days, and you'll see a difference for sure. Thank you so much for joining me today. Sending you lots of love, peace, joy in this life, this crazy, beautiful life. Bye. See you next time.